Okay, let's get rolling. This will be our second assessment on linear equations. Remember, we try to take 3 in a semester on each test. So this is a line. It says y equals negative 4x plus 2. Remember, all these are going to be lines here. So this line, it's either the y's over here and the x over here, kind of with other things, with operators and all that. So that makes this slope intercept form. Okay, is what this is. Okay, so I have to find my slope and my y-intercept, which isn't hard to find. The slope is a number in front of the x, which is negative 4 over 1. And the y-intercept is a coordinate point, and the x is always 0 at that point, and then the y-intercept is just going to be 2. Okay, so I plot my y-intercept point, that's up here. And then from there I go down 4 and forward 1. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, forward 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, forward 1. Okay, and that gives me my line. So I take a ruler and make the line. Okay, that's the end of it. It's just a simple equation. So we go to the next problem. Negative 2x plus 6y equals 12. Sorry, that's a crappy looking equals. Now this time the x and the y are on the same side, so that means it's in standard form. So with standard form, I go for of a linear equation. Again, you don't have any powers to worry about. Okay, that's on the next standard. Okay, so standard form means we make two xy coordinates, and all I do is substitute 0 in for x in one of the coordinates and 0 in for y in the other. Then I write that equation out twice, so negative 2x plus 6y equals 12. And then I write it out a second time. Okay, now if x is 0, you can go ahead and lose the negative 2x, okay? So we have 6 times y equals 12, so to solve for y, we simply divide by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay, so that's on the y. I don't go forward or backwards, I just go up 2. Okay, then if the y is 0, we can eliminate the 6y from the equation, so I now have negative 2 times x equals 12. So to solve for x, we need to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, so to plot the point negative 6, 0, you go backwards 6. And I don't go up or down at all. And then I connect those points, and that's the equation for that's the line represents the equation. A line represents all the points where one side of the equation is equal to the other. Okay. Okay, the next one we got x equals negative 5. Now there's only an x here. That means it's in constant form. Okay, with constant form I usually graph 3 points. They're all pretty easy to graph. Now remember what the variable is. A variable that's equal to negative 5 is the x. So I put negative 5 in for x 3 different times. And then y can be whatever I want. 1, 2, 3. So I go backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up 1, backwards 5 up 2, backwards 5 up 3. And the line is constantly at negative 5 for my x coordinate. Okay, that's why it's called constant. Okay, my next problem, y is greater than 2x plus minus 6. So again, I think of it as like a line of just like an equal sign. So that's in slope-intercept form. Okay, it's not in standard because here's my sign. The y and the x are on opposite sides. So I go slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 2, but then I make it a ratio by placing a 1 underneath it, and then my xy coordinate is 0. And then the negative 6. So I plot the coordinate first. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then from there I go up 2 because we have positive and forward 1. I always go forward, okay? So I go up 2, forward 1, up 2, forward 1. And this is not going to be a solid line. It's going to be dashed because it's greater than, but there's no equals to line. So it's just a dashed line through there. Okay. But then after the line's dashed, you got to run your true-false test and highlight either the side of the line that's true. So the test point here would be 0, 0. Okay. So I replace the y with 0, and then I have greater than, and then I have 2, and then I replace the x also with 0, because I'm replacing both of them with 0. Okay, now the operations are on this side, so 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 6 is negative 6, okay? So 0 is a higher value than negative 6, and the sign opens up towards 0, so that's a true statement, okay? So I put true on this side of the line, I put false on the other side, and then I just highlight the true side. That's not me scribbling it out, it's me highlighting it. I don't have an actual highlighter, so... Usually in a textbook it shows up in blue. Okay, solving inequalities. Negative 3x plus 7 is greater than 19. So we represent our solution with a number line. Okay. Now first I circle my x in the number that's multiplied by the x or dividing the x, and it's negative 3. So if I have a negative multiplier, then that sign has to switch directions. It goes to less than. Now we got to get rid of the plus 7 by subtracting it, and that's 12. So we got negative 3x greater than 12, and then we divide both sides by negative 3. After I divided, the x is now by itself. So it's on that side. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. But again, the sign is flipped because I had to divide by a negative number. So negative 4, circle. Don't fill it in because it's just less than. There's no equals to. And then I go that way. Okay, another inequality to solve, okay? So here, x isn't really being multiplied, instead it's being divided, but it's being divided by a negative, so that sign again needs to flip, okay? So now I don't have to add or subtract anything, because there's nothing outside like the 7 like there is on this problem. Instead, what I need to do is multiply, okay? Okay, so x is on this side, and then I take negative 2 times negative 5, that's 10, okay? So 10 is the critical number, fill in the circle, and then greater than means we go this way. Again, whatever the direction the nose points is the way my arrow needs to go. Okay, solving an absolute value equation, you don't distribute. You do not want to do that. You've got 2 multiplied by the absolute value of 4x plus 2 equals 16. You got to solve for x. Now, absolute value, you're talking distance from a number line, so that always has 2 possible solutions. Okay, so I take the expression on the inside and write it in both equations. Again, 4x plus 2, 4x plus 2. Now, I don't know what this is equal to because I have a multiplication operation of 2. Now, again, you don't distribute. Instead, what you do is the opposite of multiplication, which is divide by 2, and then that operation is canceled. Then I divide 16 by 2, and that's 8. So, I have the absolute value of 4x plus 2 equals 8. So now you know what your absolute value is, but there's 2 places on a number line you can have an absolute value of 8. You can be at 8 or negative 8. Okay, so I subtract 2. 8 minus 2 is 6, and then I divide by 4, and 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. Okay, the other one, I subtract my 2. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. And then I divide by 4 on both sides, and negative 10 divided by 4 is negative 2.5. Okay, now the next one, rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. Now we have our standard form. Now we need to go take that equation from standard form so it's in slope-intercept form. Okay. All right, first thing I do is I isolate my y. Okay, so y is multiplied by negative 5. I'm going to circle that. Before I worry about the negative 5, I got to get the 10x to 0. Well, I'll subtract 10x, and then I'll subtract that from 50 right there. So we got negative 5 times x, negative 5 times y, excuse me. Then we switch the order of these, okay? So 10x is negative, and the 50 is positive, so plus 50. Then I divide every term in the equation by what the y is multiplied by, which is negative 5. Okay, so negative 10 divided by negative 5 is 2. Please put the x behind the 2. The x does not go away. And then 50 divided by negative 5 is negative 10. So y equals 2x minus 10. Now it's in slope-intercept form. It's the same equation, it's just in a different form. Okay, go ahead and get that out of there. Now here's the story problems. Remember, there's only going to be 5 or 6 on the test. I can't remember which one. I think there's 5 on the last one. A golf course charges a membership fee for every round of golf played. If a member plays 5 rounds of golf, his total cost, including membership, will be $175. If the same person plays 13 rounds of golf, his total cost, including the membership, will be $255. What will the total cost, including membership, be for a person who played 32 rounds of golf? Now, there are 2 units, okay? 2 units, rounds and money. If I play 0 rounds, I still have to pay the membership fee. So there is a B. So if there's 2 units and a B, we're going to make the 3 side boxes to kind of organize my work. So the units I have are money and rounds. Remember, you don't have a time unit, but you know that X cannot be the money. Okay, so it should be the rounds. You got Y. So you got dollars per round. We don't know how much every single round costs, how much the cost changes by every round. So I have to use my slope formula, Y minus Y, X minus X. Now again, the Y is your dollars, okay? You have to put the dollars in the numerator, okay? Well, these two, 255 minus 175. And the rounds go in the denominator. Now, how many rounds were with 255, okay? 255 had 13 rounds. Minus how many rounds were with the 175? Well, that was 5. So it's got to be like that. You could switch the order, but that's fine. It just makes more sense to do it that way. So that's 80. 255 minus 175 is $80. 13 minus 5 is 8. 8 rounds. So $80 divided by 8 rounds is $10 per round. Okay, and that's 10x. Okay, then I make my line, and I got B plus mx equals y. Now we have our m, okay, we have 10, so it's 10x. Okay, now the b, I don't know what the b is, okay? It's not anything in this problem. B is a y value, it's a money value, but it's not in the problem because the b value is for 0 rounds, okay? 175 can't be the b because that's for 5 rounds, and 255 can't be the b because that's after 13 rounds. It's got to be that membership fee. So to find the b, I got to use y equals m times x plus b, and I'll be solving for the b, meaning the other 3 have to be replaced. And I need to identify a combo because I know my m. My m is the 10. I need a combo of money and rounds from the same sentence. We'll go 5 rounds and $175. Okay, rounds is x, so that 5 replaces the x, and then 175 is going to replace our y. So the y is 175, and then take your 10 times 5, that's 50. So you have 175 equals 50 plus b. Now you have to get that 50 to 0. You don't divide. 50 divided by 50 is not 0. You would subtract 50 and then subtract it from 175. So that's 125 equals b. So my b value is 125. So now the equation, there's a $125 membership fee you play at the beginning plus $10 per round equals y. Okay, now that 32 rounds, the final value has to be substituted into the equation. Okay, now rounds. Rounds is represented by x. Okay, so we are going to replace the x with 32. So you got 125 plus 10 times 32 equals y. Now the y has no operations with it, so I just plug the other side into a calculator. 125 plus 10 times 32. I got 445, so $445 is my y. Okay, next problem. At a job, Chuck makes a base pay of $1,000. He also makes $30 per hour of overtime worked. If he works 12 overtime hours, how much will he make? So you got money in hours, and before the dollars per hour, you can see you have 1,000. So I'm definitely going to want to make these, but it's not going to take as long because I have the values I need. So I've got dollars and hours. Hours is X, dollars is Y. So per. Dollars per hour, the dollars per hour rate is 30, so 30x because it's times every hour. And we have our B value, okay, equals Y. And the B value is 1,000, so you have those values. Okay, so your equation is 1,000 plus 30x equals Y. Now the substitution number is 12. Okay, so 12, it's hours, 12 overtime hours. And again, hours is X, so we put the 12 in for the X. Okay, you got to look up here, hours is X. So you got 1,000 plus 30 times 12 equals Y. And again, when I solve for Y, Y is by itself, so I can just plug that into the expression. Okay, so you got 1,000 plus 30 times 12, 1,360 equals Y, so that's the answer to the problem. That one's pretty simple. Okay, next one. To install a ceiling fan, one service charges $120 for installation plus $5 per hour to install the fan. A second service charges $55 installation plus $14 per hour to install the fan. For how many hours is the first service a better price? Okay. So you can see you got 2 units. Now before the hours start, you got 120. And before the hours start here, you got 55. So you want to use the line. So you've got dollars and hours. Hours is X, dollars is Y. So the per, dollars per hour. Okay, so the dollars per hour, we actually have 2. We have $5 per hour and $14 per hour. So 5X and 14X. So that means we're going to make 2 lines. And B plus equals Y at the end. B plus equals Y at the end. Okay, so prior to the $5 per hour, we had $120 for the B. And then prior to the $14 per hour, you had $55 for the B. Now, here's how you convert 2 lines into an equation. You go 120 plus 5X equals, but then I don't put equals Y. I go to the other line, and I have 55 plus 14X. And now I can solve for X. Okay, we have X on both sides, so we have to take the smaller one to 0 by subtracting 5X, and then subtracting it from 14X. So it's going to be 120 equals 55 plus 9X. Okay, now I have to take the 55 to 0, so subtract 55 and subtract 55. So 120 minus 55 is going to be 65 equals 9X. Then divide by 9. And I take 65 divided by 9. So 65 divided by 9 is 7.2. Okay, so you can have 7.2. That's when they're equal. Or you can write 8. Doesn't matter because 8 hours, and then the one with the smaller member, this one with the larger membership fee becomes the better price. Because again, he starts ahead of him, but he's gaining more on him every hour. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, two people are working at a car wash. One person can wash one car in 45 minutes. The other can wash one car in 35 minutes. How long will it take the two people to wash 14 cars working together? Now, I made a little table here because you have 2 units, but you don't need the line because if you wash cars for 0 minutes, you're not going to get any cars washed. So there's no B value in this problem. So that means instead of making the 3 boxes, I make proportions. P-R-O-P-O-R-T-I-O-N-S. Again, if I have 2 units and they both begin at 0, and it's a linear equation because you would want to use proportions. So again, the proportions are the equal ratios. Now remember, your time unit has to be on the bottom, or this won't work. And then your other units on top. Okay, when I do a proportion, I want to know what I'm solving for. I'm solving for the minutes, so I put X. Now, how many cars do I have to wash at the end of the problem? 14. Now, one ratio of cars in minutes, you have 1 in 45. But then we have to add the other ratio that's in the problem for the other person, 1 in 35. Okay, so I got 14 over X here. And then to find the ratio here, I need to simplify by adding these together. So I go 1 ABC 35 plus 1 ABC 45, and I got 16 over 315. And then I can just cross multiply and divide. Okay, so I can take 315 times 14, divided by 16. That's going to be 276. Okay. 276 minutes, and you can leave your answer in minutes. Now to find the hours, okay, you would divide by 60, okay, so 276, I'm going to actually do ABC 60 here, okay, so it's 4 hours and then 3/5 of a minute, okay, then for the 3/5 you take it times 60 and it's 36, so it'd be 4 hours 36 minutes, okay. I don't need you to write that. That's good enough. But I'm just showing you if you wanted to convert for hours, you could. Okay, an electrician earns $8 more per hour than his apprentice. Last week they earned $597.50. An electrician works 15 hours while his apprentice works 20 hours. How much does each person make per hour? Okay, this time we have 3 units. You're like, oh, there's only 2 hours in money. Yeah, but you got the hours worked by the apprentice and the hours worked by the electrician that are being combined into one, so that's 3 units. So with 3 units, I'm going to set up my tic-tac-toe table. Okay, so together, then we have the electrician and apprentice. And then how many units per and total, and you need to put the dollar sign above per and above total. So I know my total is $597.50. That's what that's equal to down there. Okay, now how many units has nothing to do with money. So 15 has to go here. That's for the electrician. And then 20 goes here. That's for the apprentice. Now you can add those. It's 35, although I really don't end up using the 35. So we can go ahead and get rid of that. And we can get rid of these. Now an electrician earns $8 more per hour than the apprentice. So I don't know either one of them. So I'm going to go X and X with the more than. But then I'm going to add 8 to the electrician, okay? And then we multiply these expressions. This one's easy. It's 20x. Now the other one, we wrap that up and we do the distributed property. So 15 times x is 15x, and then 15 times 8 is 120. Now these x's are on the same side of the equals, okay? So if they're on the same side, you just need to add them, combine them by adding them together. So 15x plus 20x is 35x plus the 120 equals 597.50. Okay, now I can solve for x pretty easily. Minus 120 minus 120. That's going to be $477.50. and then I'm going to divide both sides by 35. So I take 477.50 divided by 35, okay? $13.64. So it ends up kind of a weird answer. Okay, now the X that's by itself is my apprentice, 13.64. And then the electrician earns 8 more, so I just add 8 onto the solution, and that's going to be 21.64. Okay, at an animal shelter, the manager needs to buy food for cats and dogs. Dog food costs $4.50 per bag, while cat food costs $2.99 per bag. There are 37 cats and dogs in the shelter. If the invoice is $145.36, how many cats and how many dogs are in the shelter? Okay, 3 units, so the information's organized like this. So you got together, and you got your cats, you got your dogs, you got how many, you got per, you got total, and you go money per, money total. Okay, now the total cost together is equal to $145.36. Now, find me the non-money numbers. You got 37, but that's cats and dogs, so that's got to be together. And if I know the together, but I don't know the separate, we need to use 2 different variables, X and Y. Okay, so the price for a cat food is $2.99, and the price for dog food is going to be $4.50. So then I multiply, that's 2.99X, and that's 4.50Y. Okay, now when we have an X and Y in the table, we're going to want to make a cross because we need to use 2 equations right here and then up top. So we have X plus Y equals 37, then 2.99X plus 4.50Y equals 145.36. Okay, put implied ones in front of those, so we're going to use elimination. We're going to multiply the top by 2.99, and the bottom will just multiply by 1. So that's going to be 2.99x plus 2.99y, and then I take 2.99 times 37. That's 110.63. And the bottom remains the same because you're just multiplying by 1. So 2.99x plus 4.50y equals 145.36. Now, we always want to add these, so I'm going to switch that to negative, so those cancel, but then I got to switch the other 2 on the bottom to negative, and I go 2.99 plus negative 4.50, that's negative 1.51y. Then I take 110.63 plus negative 145.36. You got to remember the negative. That's negative 34.73. Okay, and then I go ahead and divide both sides of the equation by negative 1.51. So I go negative 34.73 divided by negative 1.51, and I got 23. Now that's my y. Okay, so that's how many dogs are in the shelter. Okay, now to find your cats, there's 2 ways to go about it. You can take this equation and simply replace your y variable with 23. So the product of 1 and 23 is 23. So you got 1x plus 23 equals 37. Subtract 23, and you got 14. You don't need to divide by 1. It's 14. Okay, next one. A car traveling at an average speed of 45 miles per hour travels 200 miles further than a car traveling at a speed of 34 miles per hour. Approximate the distance that each car has traveled, assuming the cars have traveled for the same amount of time. So this is not units. This is the distance or the speed distance time table. So that is an 8-box one. You split it in half, you make 4 columns. Okay, car 1, car 2. Speed, distance, time. So the speeds I know I have 45 mph and 34 mph. Okay, now the distances we don't know, but since we know that one travels 200 miles further or more than the other, we're going to put x plus 200 and x in those boxes. So x plus 200 will be with the 45 because that's a faster speed than x is here. Now the time, the only thing you know about the time is they're equal. So you have to know that the time is equal to distance divided by speed. So the distance is x plus 200 and the speed's 45. The distance is x, the speed's 34. Then you make a proportion out of that. X plus 200 over 45 equals x over 34. And then you have to use your A, B, C, D cross products because of the x plus 200. Okay, so multiplying A times B is always going to equal multiplying C times D. Remember, A and B are diagonal. They're not straight up and down. So A is x plus 200, while B is 34. C is x, D is 45. So I have to use the distributive property here. So 34 times x is 34x. 34 times 200 is 6,800. And then over here, that's 45x. Okay, now get that smaller x to 0. Go ahead and get rid of it. And that's 11x. So you got 6,800 equals 11x. Then I can divide by 11. And I'm going to end up rounding the decimal here to 618. Okay, so that's your slow one. And then your faster one traveled 200 more miles. So add 200 to your solution, you have 818. Okay, next one's a quick one. An item costs $43.39 after it's been marked up in price by 20%. How much did the item cost previously? So you need to use your percent change equation, which we did one day in class. Blank times blank equals blank. Now remember, this is your original, this is your percent, and this is your after. So I do my percent first. Now the item's marked up, so I take 100% and add 20%. That's 120%. Now you need to move the decimal twice to the left, and it's 1.20. Okay, now read the question. How much did the item cost previously? Previously means the original. It means we don't have the original. We have to solve for it using the after price, 43.39. And since I'm not going to multiply because I don't have one of my factors, I divide 43.39 divided by 1.20 and 36.16, so $36.16. Okay, next one. A family goes to Chicago to watch the Cubs play 2 different times during the summer. The first time they go, they stay 2 nights and buy a total of 10 tickets. They pay $602.80. The next time they go, the price of tickets is not changed, nor is the price of the hotel room they're staying. On this trip, they stay 3 nights and buy 12 tickets for a total cost of $773.70. How much does a single ticket cost? How much does a night cost? So you have 3 units. So you're going to make your table. So you got together. And then we'll go nights and tickets. And then how many units per and total. So you put money and money. Now the money total, there are 2 of them. We have this total and this total. So that's going to line up as 2 equations down here. So 602.80 and 773.70. Okay, how many nights? Well, this one stayed 2 and the other one stayed 3. So 2, 3. Cross those out. And then the nights, okay, this one, or no, the tickets, this one's bought 10, this one bought 12. Okay, you can add those. It's 12 and 15. You're not going to use those, but now in the middle we got XX, YY, because you don't know either one of them, and then you just multiply down 2x and 3x, 10y and 12y. And now you make your system using these two. 2x plus 10y equals 602.80, and also 3x plus 12y equals 773.70. So start your process. You have 3, 3, 3, because that's there, and then 2, 2, 2, 2. So 3 times 2x is 6x plus 30y. And then I take a calculator and I take 602.80 times 3. That's 1808.4. In the bottom, you're going to have 6x plus 24y, and then I need to multiply 773.70 by 2. That's 1547.4. Make those negatives, the rest of them go negative. Okay, this is 6y. And then I take 1808.4 plus negative 1547.4, and I got 261. And then I go ahead and divide by 6, and I have my y solution in the system. Divide those, you get 43.5. But that's okay that I got decimal because it's cost. So y, the tickets, are $43.50. Now to solve for the x, you just take one of the two originals. 2x plus 10y equals 602.80. And you just replace your y with the solution you got, which is 43.5. Okay, 10 times 43.5 is 435. So 2x plus 435 equals 602.80. Then I subtract 435. And 2x is equal to 167.8, and then I divide both sides by 2. 83.9, so $83.90.